This is the Mickey Miles and More podcast, your one-stop for information on Disney races, Disney vacations, Disney theme parks, and more. Now, here are your hosts for the Mickey Miles and More podcast, Michelle Scribner-McLean, Chris Eliopoulos, and Mike Scopa.
Welcome home, Milers. I'm Chris Eliopoulos, and this is another episode of Mickey Miles and More. In our Welcome Home series, joining me as always is Dr. Michelle Scribner-McLean.
You're not just Chris Eliopoulos.
Just.
You are DB, double vaccinated Chris Eliopoulos.
Darn tootin'.
Congratulations. Yes. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a good feel. Like, you know, I posted a thing on the internet where I had said the after effects of the shot made me feel like Andy Dufresne from what's that movie called? Shawshank Redemption, where I was crawling through the sewage pipe, and on the other side is the freedom that I seek, and so I am on the other side, feeling free. My wife has already scheduled us. She's like 2 weeks to the day we're going out to dinner, because we have not done any of that stuff. We didn't go to dinner. We didn't go out. All I did was go to the supermarket. So
that's exciting. Congratulations. Yeah. I am less than 36 hours away from my second one. I'm prepared to be down and out, but happy for the opportunity.
You're gonna be. You know, it's so funny. You're gonna feel like garbage, and yet you're gonna be so happy.
Early Saturday morning.
What?
That would mean you get it early Saturday morning.
Yeah,
right?
that's when I get it. Early Saturday.
36 hours from now.
Yeah.
Is 7:30 Saturday morning.
Yeah.
You're getting it like at 10 o'clock.
Oh boy, you know he's being really.
Okay.
What a difficult.
Sorry. Okay, so is it 38 hours?
It's
okay.
It's close.
See, our listeners want to know these facts, so they can
the
follow me to Walgreens.
I just don't want you to get up at 4 a.m. on Saturday and say, "Hey,
believe me, I will be.
Right.
I get my running in." Okay, so before I hand it over to the next person who's lurking in the background,
not so lurking.
I actually have two shout outs today. Mm-hmm. The first one is to our good buddy Nikolai Gonzalez, who is 50 today, and good friend Nick. So happy birthday, Nick. He's an awesome person. Married to Mandy, who is an MEI Mouse Fan travel agent, and our travel agent. And another one is to a person called Curtis Bill, who on our Mickey Miles podcast Facebook page has declared himself the #1 Mickey Miles and More fan. So, yeah, thanks for your very positive and kind post, Curtis.
I didn't know we had rankings, but okay.
Yeah, well, he says so.
All
must
right.
be.
Self-declared.
I think he's the person in charge of the fan club and stuff like that.
And then with us today also is the numbers man, Mr. Mike Scopa. Hi, Mike.
Hi, speaking of numbers, Chris. Hi, Chris. Do you guys guess what I found out an interesting
he's going right at it, Chris.
Yeah, here we go.
See if you guys can, not counting the wings on the new wings that were built for the castle within the last couple of years. How many blocks do you think it took to build the Cinderella Castle in Walt Disney World? If you can come within 100. Chris,
I know the answer, but I don't know if you want me to give it away.
Oh, you do know the answer.
Of course I know the answer. The answer is 0. There are no blocks.
That's correct.
They fake it.
Much like all fiberglass.
Disney is fake and
didn't one of our cast member friends recently tell us that there was like a lawsuit?
I told them that.
Okay, yeah.
And they didn't know it, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's ready. He's ready with his Disney facts.
Okay. So, as we get started, we are still. I'll give everybody the update. So I have until May 2nd to decide whether or not to pull the trigger on renewing my annual pass. So we're still in that move. We actually...
wait a second, though. Mr. I just bought a new... What? What did you buy?
I bought a new Apple Watch.
And why?
No, I bought it because I wanted to get back into running more, and I felt I needed a little.
Oh, is that why you bought it?
And if case, like, we were going to Disney, I might need the watch to, for the app, which I think in a future episode, Michelle, I want you to kind of walk me through some of the, if I do get the annual pass, if see what you can teach me about the app and the usage.
I would be happy to, but I don't think you got it for just for running. But
I'm sticking to it.
Opinion.
But we did. I will say though that it's funny. We got a notification from our airline. They had slightly changed our flight times. You know, sometimes they do that. They change it like 15 minutes or something dopey like that.
Yeah.
And I guess with the new things that they've been doing, they offer you to either accept it, change the flight to something else, or cancel the flight without losing your money. I mean, obviously, you'd have to push it towards another flight, but
What airline is it, Chris?
it is JetBlue. So we pulled the
did
trigger.
What? You accepted it?
We accepted it. So far we are still there. But speaking of being called back, I understand that cast members are being called back to work. Michael, is that
What
true?
we're hearing is that there's some orientation effort going on in several of the parks, notably Epcot. So there is definitely some callbacks taking place. And the feeling is that these callbacks are based on the capacity for the parks possibly being raised or elevated in about a month or so. And as well as, and there may also be indications of the orientation, of the increased orientation in the callbacks could be because the resorts are going to be made more available. So these are little signs that, all of us Disney nerds look at and say, why are they bringing back all these cast members unless there's going to be a need, because there's going to be more guests, more availability, longer operating hours and things like that.
Now you said mostly at Epcot.
Yeah, I think it's because
Is that wine and
Epcot-
dine? Do you think? Because they're going to be adding that.
I don't know. I think it's. I think that the orientation is being taken place where the Wonders of Life Pavilion used to be. I'm not sure about that, but that seems to be a big place where they can do all these orientation meetings and onboarding and things like that. So
The things are taking place there. It's not just Epcot cast members.
No, it's just that. No. It's just that
got
there's
it.
I think that it's a number of cast members from all over the
Got it.
the Walt Disney World Resort, and just that that has started to take place. And I don't know how long it takes. Used to have this thing called traditions, and used to be 2 weeks, and then it was 1 week. But I
It's
don't
like
know.
17 minutes now.
Yeah, and I don't know, Chris, if there's just 17 minutes. I don't know. That's the Disney time span. I don't know if these are just new cast members or the returning ones. I can't see this being something needed for returning cast members,
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean, with the protocols, it might be.
it could be, yeah.
Chris, does this affect your decision making?
Well, again, all this stuff where it's sort of building back up makes me feel more inclined that we're gonna be able to experience more and see more and feel more comfortable there. Every little bit helps. Like I said, I'm just hoping that we're going to hear more from them as to where we're going to be and how much more. If there are markers. By June 1st, we're going to have X, Y, and Z or whatever. But are the restaurants opening up? The resorts are opening up and that kind of stuff. That it'd be nice to hear that stuff.
There is also something that's related, Chris, and that is that it seems like every week for the past 3 weeks, there's been more and more indication that the parks are going to be opening up their capacity. I know that park availability has gone up. So by that I mean a week or two ago, there were some days in June in particular where you couldn't get into certain parks because they were full. Well, now you can. And I'm wondering if that meant that they raised the capacity from maybe 35 to something higher. So, we're trying to connect the dots. So more park access, more capability, needing to increase staff. So maybe that has something to do with them calling back the the cast members.
Yeah, let's hope. I mean, I like the idea of the park capacity. So, is there something you want to talk about with park capacity beyond that? Specifically,
well-
something we discussed earlier, as in like the second thing on the list that you told me that we would use to talk about.
Oh, I think I. Oh, you mean? Oh, that.
That.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He set it up for you. You need to hit it out of the
Yeah,
park.
I'm sorry.
Nope, it's all
so, we've been talking the last couple of weeks on the show about how the park reservation system works, and just trying to set this up, and how you would reserve a park, let's say the Magic Kingdom, for tomorrow, and that park reservation allows you to enter the park when the gates go down or whatever, when the gates open up, and then at 2:00 you can park hop. But then we got into a discussion regarding, well, how do we know that we can go from the Magic Kingdom to Epcot at 2:00 if Epcot is already at capacity, and how are we going to find that out? So we really couldn't figure that out. So I decided to sort of, quote, go to the horse's mouth, and I sent a message
Go to the horse's mouth.
Go to the,
Or
yeah,
hear it from the
hear
horse's
from the
mouth.
horse's mouth. So anyways, I sent a little note to Disney, and I said, I asked them if there would be any resource that would be put in place that would inform guests regarding theme park capacity. And I said, for instance, if a guest has a park reservation for Epcot and visits the park from opening to 2:00 and then would like to hop to Hollywood Studios for the afternoon, how would that guest know if they would be able to return to Epcot for the evening, or if Hollywood Studios would be at capacity? And so then I suggested, in other words, could My Disney Experience have that up-to-date information? So
this kind of gets to the question we had about if you had a restaurant reservation later on that night.
Exactly. There's so much that's tied into park availability and park capacity. So it took them 2 weeks to answer.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And I'm going to read to everybody what they sent me in an email. And I want you to tell me if they answered the question, okay? And here it is. Quote, we are happy to say we have two options to choose from if you are wanting to check on park capacities when selecting park hopping destinations. The first option would be on the My Disney Experience application. We will set specific park hopper hours during which this option is
available.
supposed to say is available. Park hopper hours will start at 2:00 each day and end at the park's scheduled close time. Now, up until I got this email, I had never seen anything about that being on My Disney Experience. It goes on to say guests are now able to check the park hours calendar and the My Disney Experience app for the most up-to-date park hopper hours, as they could start earlier at a later date, depending upon the day in park.
You could start earlier.
So
at a
before
later
2
date.
o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. We are also able to provide a phone number, and for those who are writing this down, we all know the area code down there is 407, and the phone number is 565,000. That's easy to remember, 565,000. Quote, where information about current park hopping options are provided. I'm not sure if they answered the question, but I think that it sounds like they're going to do something with the My Disney Experience. I want to add a little asterisk to this, and that is that there is another app that's coming down the pipe, and within a year or so, it's going to be called the Genie app. A lot of people don't know about it, and the Genie app is going to do a little bit more than My Disney Experience in terms of helping people get around the resort and try to figure out what to do. But for now, we're stuck with My Disney Experience, I guess.
And it seems like calling a number is really old school.
I agree.
It really seems like
Hey, you'd be surprised.
1990s, you know? Like,
Some people just don't take well to technology.
yeah.
I mean, I still
True,
find
but
I find the app
Are you
difficult.
going to put that number? Are you going to save that number, Chris?
Yeah, why? I mean, you can do. I mean, I do that with like reservations and stuff. If I need to, like, the day before a reservation, I want to change it, I'll call up, but I have it set in my contact, so I just hit a contact and call
I
up.
just wonder, like, I can see myself standing at the Magic Kingdom in the hot sun, and thank you for contacting. I don't know, maybe all of my experiences with ticketing and Disney Vacation Club, but 40 minutes later, like
Exactly. You put on hold.
No, I agree. My problem was I was having a lot of problems with the app for a long time. It's hard to navigate. I found like I would enter a park and it would crash, and then I'd get
Yes.
kicked out of the system, and I try to log back in and it wouldn't recognize me. It wouldn't recognize the face recognition. And I was constantly having problems. So I definitely think some people just want to avoid all of that and want to hear the confirmation of a voice, somebody giving them the real answer. And, so there's that level of things. But speaking of cast members, Michelle, anything new going on?
Yes. I don't know. It was interesting. I woke up this morning. I have my sleep function on my phone. I had two texts from people already telling me about this. That Disney has new policies for the look of cast members, and what they can wear, what they can't wear. One of the things that a lot of people seem to be really interested in is that visible tattoos are now okay as long as they're not offensive, as long as they're not on face, head, or neck. And if they are on arms and they are offensive, they can be covered up. And all sorts of things about dropping restrictions on facial hair and things like that. And it just seems to be, I think, really opening up the opportunity for people to be cast members if they haven't had the necessarily the look that Disney has found acceptable, but it's a more inclusive type of thing where it really reflects the public and people's hair, body preferences. So I think the idea is that, I know one of their, we talked about this earlier offline, one of their new keys in terms of the way that cast members should behave and think about their interactions with guests is inclusiveness. And I see this as a step in that direction, which really shows that guests look different ways. Cast members should reflect the way that they look. So what do you guys think? What are your thoughts about it, Chris?
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's a long time coming. I mean, look, I don't have any tattoos. I'm not, personally, I don't feel the need to get tattoos, but I don't ever feel like I think badly of people who have tattoos, and it's so prevalent. I mean, I see people with tattoos everywhere. I don't see why they can't be cast members. What's interesting is they'll allow tattoos, but non-natural hair coloring is not allowed. It's like it's the funniest, quirky kind of thing. Like, why is that so bad?
Yeah, they actually gave. I sent you guys in some article I read today. There was the handbook, and it said blue. It specifically said like blue, purple, and green, not allowed. But
is there like a symbolism to that I'm not aware of? There used to be back in the day, it was sort of like if you wore an earring in your right ear, it meant you were gay. And if you were, like, is there like blue hair color defines you as transsexual, or green hair defines you as, pansexual or something? I don't know.
I'm just inferring based on what I read, but one of the things I noticed was that you can't modify or take away from the costume. And I'm wondering if that would take away from the look of the particular costume, that it would bring the focus off the costume onto the person and their hair. So I'm not really sure.
Well,
Mike, I don't think with your blue hair you could be a cast member.
The thing is that, we don't want Snow White to have a tattoo of mom on her arm, as she's taking a picture with a.
Well, I would assume, cast members that are dressing up as characters, I'm assuming, have different rules beyond these. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. The biggest thing I see in this was that within that handbook, they have removed all gender references, which to me means that they're going to treat everybody equal, and that they're not going to have any kind of, I don't know what I want to say, but I just think that it's a very very liberal way of looking at things, and I like that because they're going to treat everybody the same. And when you look at all the other things, yeah, they're going to loosen up some of their previous rules, but it's still, if you look at them, the nail is no longer than a quarter-inch beyond the fingertip. The earrings are the certain size. Facial hair neat and well groomed. I don't think we're going to notice a difference. I really don't. So I think this is going to offer more people the opportunity to work there. And that could be it too. Maybe they couldn't find anybody who wasn't wearing an earring or didn't have a tattoo to work there. So I think this is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, speaking of good things, what are the good things happening this summer, Mike?
Well, one of the things I wanted to mention, I've been reading about this, and that is that everybody knows mouse gear, and that's been torn down, and it's going to be reopened as something they're going to be called a creation shop. But what's going to be interesting about this is that if you guys remember the mouse gear, you walk in, and the only place where you could see sunlight were the doors. But it looks like the creation shop is going to be very bright, wide open. You're going to have like glass walls all around it. It's going to be really, really cool.
What are we creating in the creation?
It's just going to be mouse gear, but it's going to be called Creation Shop, and it's going to be on Innovations East, I believe it is. It's going to be on the right side, and what they're going to build right next to it is they closed Club Cool, and they're going to move that over there too. So Club Cool is going to be right next to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to look like, because it's supposed to be bright and cheerful and all that kind of stuff. So that's something new I think it's going to be opening up in June, maybe or July.
It's interesting. I don't actually buy a lot of Disney stuff, but I always loved Mouse Gear was my favorite place to shop for Disney stuff. I just love the feel of it. I don't know what it was. I love the way it sort of curved around in a half circle, and I just love shopping in there.
This is the third rendition of that building. The first time they opened it up, it was called the Centurium, where you could shop, and then they went to Mouse Gear, I think, and now it's called the Creations.
So that means the electric umbrella, which I've probably eaten at like once in my life, is gone too.
I'm not sure what's going on with the electric umbrella. I'll make a note to see if I could find out. I'll make a note.
Thank you.
Well, you're forgetting like the lead to this story is with Club Cool. Are we getting Beverly back?
Yeah.
Still,
I know you're excited by it.
Well, Beverly, Beverly and I have had I've had a relationship.
Friends don't let
with
friends drink Beverly.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100 and I don't know how many cups, but
Remember that kid when you did that challenge? And that kid kept trying to keep up, and like halfway through, he started vibrating.
And
like
I already had like 18 of them.
Yeah.
And he joined in. It's like I'm thinking, oh God.
And Fred.
I think he
Fred
made.
Block.
Yeah, Fred.
The poor kid was he literally was shaking, like vibrating, like he was really crazy. Speaking of vibrating things, Michelle, we got the 50th celebration coming up.
Yeah, I actually don't know a lot about that, but I know that, we have the harmonious barges that Mike has shown me a lot of pictures of. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. It really changes the whole look of Epcot.
They're huge.
Well, they're changing everything about Epcot, right? I mean, the look of everything.
But, I don't know. It's kind of... I am not somebody who's opposed to change. I'm okay. I don't need things to be exactly the same, but it looks honestly like an urban eyesore to me. But I know that there's supposed to be waterfalls. If it looks like the Bellagio, I can handle that. But even the Bellagio, not that I've seen it many times, but the water features are under the water, and then it looks kind of nice, and then but I don't know. It really looks like.
No, I agree. But, we see pictures sent back to us from friends and stuff, and all you see are the 4 or 5 barges, and they're all gray with all these gears and everything. And but when they are completely in working condition, we'll just see water fountains during the day, and then we'll see whatever at night. But they've been doing all kinds of testing with the water and with the lights and the keg lights or whatever. Those things move around, and I think they're going to do a lot of testing. Those barges look so complicated.
So
But
do
they're
you think
testing
it?
a lot.
I don't know what the name of this area outside of Mouse Gear with the waterfalls. If it has a name, do you remember that area where the
Big-
waterfalls?
The big waterfall, the big
Yeah,
water
the big.
spout.
I really enjoyed that. I was
Yeah,
probably
the dancing fountain or whatever
Yeah,
it
it
was.
would probably be like one of the.
Oh, the leaping fountains.
Not the leaping fountains over near Journey to the Imagination. The other
Right
one,
in the center, right in the front of the
center
park.
Epcot. I was probably
Oh.
one of the only people who stopped. You and I both, Mike, would stop and watch that. But I'm wondering if some of that type of, I don't know. I love the music. I thought that was really really cool. I'd love to see some of
I
that
think
stuff.
that's still there, but put that on my list too to check.
It's got a list. It's got a list.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize they were going to do like water fountains to block the view of the barges. So that's good. I like
Does
that. That's fine.
convince you a little more? You're gonna use
Well, it's
your
not even
Apple
convincing.
Watch?
It's like, yeah, you were right though. Like seeing these big, like kind of hulking monstrosities out in the middle of what was a very pleasant lake to look out onto.
Yeah.
And
And what are the friendship boats kind of like dodge all these
Yeah, I don't know.
things?
What
They
they-
zigzag.
Well, with the way
friendship
the
boat's
new
got the
design,
edge, yeah.
they might not have it anymore based on like the new designs that they've
You
been
mean you
showing.
have to
so.
actually walk to Italy? Is that what you're saying?
How is that possible? I got to work off all those drinks and the foods that I'm going to be eating at the thing. So, and then I hear there's going to be fresh paint in the Magic Kingdom, or is there fresh paint? Or
Yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but I know that they had been putting a fresh coat of paint on the spires. Besides the ribbons we talked about, there, the top of the spires and the castle had a new coat of paint, but they're also doing some painting, I believe, in Fantasyland as well, around the rooftops and stuff. So those of us who haven't been down in a year, we're going to see, it's going to look like everything's brand spanking new, like it was just painted. So that's
good.
that's happening as well. And again, that's for the 50th. And the other thing is that they're really going full blast. And we've heard about this. One of the few things we've heard about the 50th is the shimmering lights that are going to be placed on Spaceship Earth, the castle, the Tree of Life, and the Hollywood Tower of Terror. And they're going to be permanent, but that's going to take a while for them to do that. So they're hustling and putting them on right now. So that'll be interesting to see. But that's all we know about the 50th. The decorations on the castle, the shimmering lights, and
Enough for you to go
harmonious.
visit?
I don't know. I would say no. I think I need. Well, harmonious we don't
Do you
know.
have a reservation?
Yeah, I do have reservations. So some of us need to.
I love how he cages everything.
Yes,
No.
I will be there on the 50th.
No.
Duh.
Did you say no?
No, but it's just I like being there in October. So,
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's not the 50th. It's October.
It just happens to be there. It's a change of the month.
I can't help it if Disney,
Uh-huh.
lines up with my cycles. It's like,
Cycles. Well, speaking of cycling and running, and let's save Mike from this embarrassment. So I've been going. Friends of mine who have run Disney races have asked when are they coming back, as if I know anything, but they haven't really posted anything to the website. They're still marketing everything as virtual runs. I will say, by now we should have been hearing if they were going to do a wine and dine, the wine and dine. I think they're going to still be a little cautious. I mean, Michelle, you sent me that note today about the Disney Cruise Line, the Magic being pushed back to October. I think they're still being overly cautious, and I think they're going to not have marathon weekend. So here's my little dilemma. As during the pandemic, I started to run a lot, and then I got tendonitis in my knee, and I had to stop.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I stopped running for a while, gained a couple of pounds. I'm like, ugh. So I'm going in my own head that I'm going to be running a race in the future, whether it's the marathon weekend or if it's maybe Star Wars next year. I'm hoping at least we get there. I've started to take a refresher course and getting back into the mindset of a beginner runner. I went back and watched a how to run properly YouTube video. I think the group is GTM or something. They're like it's a group of Ironman athletes or whatever those events, and it was a very interesting thing to remind me. And I realized there's so many things I was doing wrong, and I fell into bad habits. So for me, I'm taking this time between races to get back to basics and get into better shape. So if nothing else, if you do want to do the virtual races, this might be a good way to start getting back to it is in your head. But I'm looking forward to one of these races coming back, Mike. And
so Chris, would you do a virtual? I know you've done them before, but would you?
I did it once, and it's great to get the medal. I don't think it's the medal for me anymore. In the beginning, it was about getting the medal, but I enjoyed the camaraderie. I love going with you guys. I love my friend Nate. Like, we go together and we hang out when we're there. We all talk running. It's a community event. I love just, you go to the, pick out stuff there at the convention hall thing, and you can buy merchandise, and then you can wear it around the park, and you can. It's just a community event. When I'm at home, there's really none of that, and that's what I really miss. So
I agree. I'm completely on the same page as you.
Yeah.
I don't really need another medal.
It was interesting when RunDisney was at its height. We'd be running in January. Then we'd go to the Princess, and then we would do the dark side, and then we would maybe go to Disneyland and do that Disneyland half, and then we would do wine and dine, and then it would be back again. So it got to the point where at any point on any weekend, any of us could go out and run a half marathon.
Yeah.
But when you're talking full, it's a different story, and you need some lead time to get your legs and your conditioning to the point where you can do a marathon without killing yourself and building up to it. So it's very telling that we really haven't heard anything. And they used to, if you guys remember in the past, they would have a calendar of events. This is happening, and this is happening. You don't see that. It's almost like they're really being very quiet about this. And like you're right, Chris, you go on the website and you don't see anything you don't see anything beyond them talking about, I don't even know if they talk about the dark side, but I think that this is all pretty much indicating that there's nothing that's going to happen.
They've talked about this Lion King virtual race that they're doing.
Yeah, I saw that.
But beyond that, there's really been no. I mean, they have the previous event, like they still have like this past January's marathon weekend virtual.
It's like nobody's touched that website.
Yeah, I mean, some of them sold out. They didn't even sell out all of the races. I will say, my wife did the virtual New York City Marathon back in November. She secretly trained behind my back because she wanted to do it, signed up for it, and ran it without telling me when she was running it, and came home and she got a thrill out of that one. Like, she did get a thrill of the run and completing the New York Marathon and getting the New York medal, but that was different because we've never done that before. And maybe for some people, running that virtual race might mean something in getting that medal. So I don't fault anybody else for wanting to do it. No. So I think we're trying to keep things a little shorter right now. So I think, Mike, Michelle, anything else you got to add to this, or are you good?
The only thing I'd like to add is that everybody should just be ready for changes every day. I think that as we move closer and closer to the summer, I think decisions will be made because they will have to make decisions, and what it's in place today may change tomorrow. So be prepared. We're all going to be looking. So just thought I'd make that point.
And I would like to say that for the first time, we had guests, and they were Disney cast members this weekend for the first time since March. And I'm just so grateful for the cast members. I know one of our cast member friends is a retired, but keeps on being called back to Disney. There are a lot of things going on. Another one has not been called back yet, but it was kind of a thrill to. Those were the first guests in a year to come, and have some drinks and a cheese platter, and it's just really weird to have people over.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Michelle. It made me think of one more thing that he said he's working on. We talked about things like what's going on in the Magic Kingdom, and the TTA is being worked on, and that's going to open soon, and how the tracks for the railroad are gone around Space Mountain or whatever, and the Tron attraction will straddle the tracks. And we talked about what he's been observing in the Magic Kingdom, and he says, without the Fast Pass, the standby lines are really long, even with low capacity. But he also said this: without the Fast Pass lines, those standby lines move fairly quick. So I'm wondering what's going to happen. I still think Fast Pass is coming back, but it was an interesting.
He also said it was crazy busy.
Yeah.
Crazy busy. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to talk about FastPass stuff in the future. I think we want to talk about the app in the future a little bit more. But I think we're going to leave it there. So if you want to continue this conversation with us, please join us on our Facebook page at Mickey Miles Podcast or on Twitter at Mickey Miles Pod. On behalf of Dr. Michelle Scribner-McLean, Mike Scopa, I'm Chris Eliopoulos. We'll see you on the road, in the parks, and welcome home, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode of the Mickey Miles and More podcast. For all of us here at the Mickey Miles and More podcast, this is Rick Gregg saying thanks for listening and all your support. And until next time, we'll see you on the road.